Als gut das sei.
Was?
Als es gut das sei. Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. Yom Shlishi, the Parshas Toldos. Shnas Tovshin Ayin Ches, Yeshiva Tiferes Avigdor. In this week's Parsha, there's a famous business deal that's recorded. Yaakov Avinu purchased the Bechorah, the rights to the firstborn from Esav. And this purchase was an important one. What was its significance? Its significance was it made the separation between Yaakov and Esav final. It made the kesher between Yisroel and the Ummos finalized for once and for all. Now you have to really study this, because it would seem that Yaakov took advantage of Esav. Esav came from the field and he was weary, he was oyef, he felt faint and hungry, and he sees his brother cooking up a pot of beans, or as we would say, making chili, or as they say in there, it's Yisroel, silly. And he says to him, Haliteni no min ha'odom hazeh. I mean, pour that stuff in my face. I'm going to open my mouth and just give me that red stuff. And Yaakov saw he was a shtickle desperate. So he said to him, okay, I tell you what, Michra kayoim es b'chayras chali. Sell me your rights to the firstborn. Are you listening, Daniel? Very important to listen to this. You like sales. You have to now to take advantage of the right moment. And Esav says, what do you want to buy? The Bechorah? What's that? I'm going to die anyway. V'lama zeh li Bechorah. So Rashi explains that Esav didn't just close his eyes. He actually weighed the sale. He weighed the privileges of the Bechorah against what he would lose if he failed to live up to the standards of the Bechorah. Avodas HaBechorah demanded a standard, and he decided that it wasn't worth it. He said, Kamo azharos va'oinshin umisos tuluyim bo. It's not worth it. Ani hoylech lomus al yada. The result that will ensue from this sale is that I'm going to die from it. Imkain, ma chayfetz libo. What do I need this for? And he made the sale. Now, later on in the parsha, the Torah records an extremely violent reaction when Yitzchak gave the brachos of the Bechor to Yankiv, and his claim was that he was the firstborn, Yaakov, and he deserved the brachos. Esav had an absolute cow. As a matter of fact, he was so angry that he planned to kill his brother, and he planned for years. He put his plans in motion right away, and later on, he really had it out for his brother. Now, it would seem from that violent reaction of Esav that he didn't completely comprehend at the time of the sale the value of the Bechira, what he was selling. So, it seems that there's a place to say that this sale is not the pride and joy of Klal Yisrael. It's not people would say, is this an erlich deal? Is this the way it should go down? It was done a little bit under incorrect pretenses. Here, Yaakov Avinu was the one who initiated the deal. It would seem that we would have expected Yaakov Avinu to mention to Esav that maybe he should consider the value of what he was giving up and what he was selling. And he didn't do that. And the Torah puts this in the Torah. It's a lesson for us. Yet later on, Asa becomes violent. What was his violence? What's your mokum of it? What's your problem? Now the answer to this question is, Esav definitely made a toast. He made a mistake. He definitely miscalculated. If it wasn't a miscalculation, why did he go berserk later on? Chayra, it's a toyes. What the emes is, this is a very big yesod. And to share this yesod with you, going to revisit a Chazal. Chazal tell us that when Moshe Rabbeinu was writing down and recording the Torah, he was writing the Maisim of Kol Yoim V'Yoim. And when he came to the Pasuk, and it said, Vayomer Elokim, and Hashem said, Na'aseh Adam, let us make man, B'tzalmeinu Kidmuseinu, in our image. Moshe Rabbeinu said, Ribono Ilamim, why are you writing, let us make man? Moa Tanoisein, why are you giving a pischim peh leminim? Why are you giving a chance for people to make a mistake and to come to a conclusion that there are shtei reshuyos, that there exists more than Hashem Echad, Chas v'Shalom? Esma, I'm amazed, Hashem. Why would you do such a thing? And what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu answer him? Amar like Ksayf. Hashem told him, right as I told you. And somebody who wants to make a mistake will make a mistake. So there's a number of ha'aris on this discussion. First ha'ara is a ha'ara from the Beis Halevi. Beis Halevi says, it seems that HaKadosh Baruch Hu never answered the question of Moshe. Moshe said to him, I'm amazed, why would you write that? You're opening the door for people to come to the conclusion of Shtei Reshuyos. Hashem didn't answer him the question. Told him to write. I don't care. That's what it sounds like. Right, as I said, and I don't care about your kashas. That's what it sounds like, right? Says the Beis Halevi, why didn't Hashem answer him the question? Moshe wanted to understand. Zok the Beis Halevi apil neiridiki yasoid. He says that you should know this is the answer. In the words of Hashem lies the answer to this question. Why is that? He said the Torah HaKadosh has within it a power, a unique power, a segula, that somebody who learns it honestly, without bias, it will never bring him to make a mistake. It's never going to be maybe him l'dei toyes chalil. It's agune umatzli. It protects someone from any sin. And even if it says in the Torah a term of us, let us, no one's making a mistake. They'll understand there's some other lesson over here. And someone who doesn't want to make a mistake, Daniel, won't make a mistake. And what HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered him is that it's only someone who's a roitzeh to make a mistake, he is the one who's going to make a mistake. But not someone who's not a roitzeh to make a mistake. He had this amazing insight. This is a major yesod, that a person who comes with the notion that he wants to make a mistake, he could make a mistake. But if the person approaches Torah honestly, and he's looking for guidance, and he's looking for the emes, and he seeks the truth, he won't have any mistakes. Can't tell you how many times I've listened to people who came with preconceived notions. They presented me with all their narishkeit and their attempt to disprove the Torah from the Torah. I always tell them the same thing. My friend, if you're a roitzeh litos, you will find the proof to your sheker within the emes. But if you're unbiased and you're looking for the emes, you have to study the Torah from a position of being a truth seeker. If you seek the truth, you mevakesh the emes, you'll have no problem. That's ha'ara number one on this medrash. A second ha'ara on this chazal is ha'ara which the Chafetz Chaim posed. Chafetz Chaim says the wording of HaKadosh Baruch Hu seems to be funny. Hashem said, "Haroitze litos," should make a mistake. Chafetz Chaim said, if somebody wants to make a mistake, so then it's not a mistake. That's a rotzai mitchila. That's a kavana mitchila. That's not a mistake. What's a roitze litos? If there's a mistake, you can't say that a person wants to make a mistake. A mistake, by nature, inherently, is something that a person doesn't want to make. A person doesn't want to make a mistake. So the Chafetz Chaim said, you have to know that all of the shitas, all of the belief systems that were created by man, all the isms and all the belief systems that they put beautiful names to, as if to give them credence and credibility. He said all of those shitas are a consequence of mistakes that the world has mistaken. But the reason for the mistakes is because they were roitze litos. It starts with chol roitze. All of these bali shitas, all the ones who introduced these new belief systems, are people who want to convince themselves and others that their way of life is righteous. They want to explain and be able to rationalize their choice of way of life is correct. So it all starts with kol haroitze. If a person is a roitze to get away from the Torah, that fellow is a roitze litos. I don't care if afterwards he convinces himself that he's certain. This is what it clearly says. My friend, how did you start? Where did it begin? Were you looking for the truth, or were you looking to get away from the truth? I can't tell you how many people, hundreds probably, I've posed this question. Before you were religious, were you aware of the fact that Jews don't eat chazer? Were you aware of that? How did you rationalize? I had one person who told me, I never heard of that. I almost couldn't believe it. I told the guy, I understand if you watch TV shows, they speak about Jews eating chazer. It's like Deva Pashin. Everybody knows Jews don't eat pork. He never heard of it. But everybody else, why did you eat pork? Some of them told me, I tried not to. And those that did, I said, how did you eat pork? I'm not sure. I don't know. Rationally, I thought it was old-fashioned, that you didn't have to. Were you aware of Jews? I used to ask, were you aware of people that did not eat pork? Were you aware of such a concept of something called kosher? Most were. I rarely found a person who didn't know what kosher was. They may not have known the details of kosher. They may have thought that kosher is something the rabbi blesses. They may have think that kosher means certain food. They didn't know it's kosher style, the type of food, for all kind of stuff. It's interesting. But I always ask this to people. Did you grow up aware of, not from people, of people who live religious. I even had one person who was reformed who told me that his parents told him the only real Jews are the Orthodox. I was shocked. I said, are you sure your parents were reformed? He said, they were worse. He wanted to marry a shiksa. But they told him the only real Jews are Orthodox Jews. So how do you come to live like that? You know what the answer is? You're a SHLITA. If you're a SHLITA, you're going to make a mistake. The Gemara says that Adam HaRishon, Gemara in Sanhedrin says an amazing statement. Adam HaRishon min haya. He was a min. You know what that means? He believed maybe it was possible to do things out of, beyond Hashem's world. Kilu there was shtei reshuyos. How could it be? The Ramchal in the Sefer Das Tfunos says, a Pellet Gazach, that even Adam HaRishon, who made a mistake, he says, Nispate Batchila Achar HaTaifa. He became seduced initially after his desire on some level. The Hatshuka Shalom. He had his personal desire and personal will to eat from the Eitz Hadas. Va'oz, and only then, Chazar, v'choshav, did he go and think, machshava svaris rois, bad svaris, kedei lahakel la'atzmai, in order to make it lenient for himself. And that's why he was called a min. And he says, it's like that which Chazal say. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin that lo yavdu Yisroel avodah zarah, Klal Yisroel did not worship avodah zarah, elo lahatir lahem arayas befesi. That means they started with such a premise. I want to have a heter to do immoral behavior. I want to start with that heter. Once you have that heter, you now become, so you're seduced after that, you're drawn to that taiva. Now your mind creates thoughts and svaras. But how are you going to do it? Hashem says no. So you see, I believe in avodah zarah. And by accepting avodah zarah somehow, that opens a door for you and a window for you. You have a guy who hates to wake up early. So know what he decides? I know a fellow like that. Didn't like waking up early. I meet him a while later, and I see he has long pace. I said, what happened to you? He said, I became a chassid. So why is that? He said, I have no problem waking up late. You know I always had a problem waking up early. I mean, the guy's whole shita started. He felt guilty. How am I going to get past this problem of getting up early? I can't get up early. And yeshivas that make you crazy to get up early. So he found the heter. He found the belief system and decided you can get up and daven at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock. It says, you know, some rebbes daven at 2 o'clock in the afternoon even. I told the guy, you know, your thinking is twisted. I told him, if I didn't know you from before, I know you always had a problem with getting up early, then I would think maybe you discovered some new halachas. But you didn't discover no halachas. You just found a proof. Atanya de Messiah halacha for your Tiferes. So here's a guy who wants to leave learning Torah. He doesn't want to learn Torah. So he finds himself, he has a taiva, he has a chukka, he doesn't know how to leave Torah. So he goes to somebody and says, is there anything wrong with going to work? I said, no, nothing wrong going to work. Torah doesn't again. Okay, shine. I spoke to Das Torah, and now I have a shita of watching. Here's a fellow who's being challenged by his parents. So he decides on his own, das Torah that he is, that the best way would be that if I got estranged from my parents and cut my parents off. But then he's not sure if that's right. So he goes to a therapist, and it's a Jewish therapist. The therapist even has a little yarmulke, or the therapist wearing a sheitel even. She's wearing a sheitel. And he goes to the therapist and says, my father doesn't smile at me. My father didn't respect my mother enough. And my parents don't make me comfortable. And I really feel that I have a low self-esteem, and I really feel it's causing a pressure in my life that I can't comfortably just do anything I want. I always feel I'm in their shadow, and I have to live up to what my father wants me to do. So you know what I'm going to do? I think I should get estranged. The therapist who never tells you anything is wrong. You should know that. The general rule. Therapists never tell you something is wrong. So if that's how you feel, then that's what you should definitely do. But you think it's against the Torah? She says, why don't you call the Rav and ask the Rav? Huh? So he goes over to the Rav, and he says, Rabbi, I spoke to a therapist. We discussed it. I'm suffering abuse from my parents. And I really feel that I should be estranged. And the therapist said, it's a good mahalach. Is that permitted? The Rav's not stupid. You see, that's what the guy wants to do. She said, I'm not sure if it's a first. Oh, Rabbi, it's not the first reaction. We've been through this a long time. It's been eating me up for a while. I don't know what to do. I guess, okay, that's the case. So the Rav is not stupid, doesn't want to lose a customer, and he sees what you want to hear, so he goes along with you. He shuckles with the company, he says, no, there's such an opinion. Maybe you should ask somebody else also. He didn't ask the Rav what's the right thing to do. The guys are right SHLITAs. And so this is, and the guy is mamish in a lot of cases. Maybe in rare cases you can get ahead there, maybe. The din of kibbur of aim, one of the fundamental commandments, one of the aseres hadibros, to respect your father and the mother. It doesn't say if your father does this to you, or your mother does that to you, or your mother does this to your father, or your father does this to your mother, or if your mother has anxiety, or your father gets a little short diffused. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say tanoim. You're uncomfortable, so you reject the Torah. That's what the guy who says, Shabbos creates anxiety for me. A whole day just sitting, climbing the walls, doing nothing. It's you know what it could do to a person? It's like locked in a room. This is what a person explained to me. I say, wait, what if the derech? Say, if you have all like locked in a room, it's claustrophobic, and all you do is eat chult, and more chult. How much chult could you have? You got a stomach ache from chult, and you get sick from the chult, and you get this from the chult. Are you retarded? What is your problem? Obviously, the guy has a fix. His fix is, I don't want to do this anymore. So I found a way out. And he goes to a therapist. No therapist says, you're right. Judaism should never be a pressure. Nothing should cause you pressure. Nothing should cause you any discomfort in your life. If it does, it's a sign that maybe it isn't for you. And you say, are you from? And the guy says, I don't have a real big yarmulke, I got a little yarmulke. I'm not one of those real from me, I might keep a shugaga. Or I have a small black yarmulke. Can't you see I'm a cool guy? I'm understanding, I'm open-minded. That's what these people say. They give you narishkeit, instead of being machazik you, the das ha'emes, and explain to you that you're falling off the tracks, and you're getting involved in your stupidity, and you're falling for Peter Yetzer, and you're a million times worse than other Mauritian. And after Ramchal writes this on other Mauritian, he's going to write this on you too. On you he's going to say that you're terrible, your mushchets and your midas, and all your tus. If Yeruchim, in his Sefer and Bamidbar, he writes, Peldik Gezach. He said in the Shmuz once, he says, there's a dover mavil. If you take a look, he says, in Unkelis, now he translates the word znus, tos, mistake. When it says Isha Zoyna v'chalala, he calls her Itza Matya. Brings a whole bunch of psukim. Zoyna Macharev always means tos. Oisasura Acharei Levavchem v'Acharei Neichem Asher Am Zoyna Macharev. It means Di'atun To'an. Basrev always mistakes. The ganze Znus. The ganze Loisasulu, he says, is out tosim. Know what the difference is? It's mistakes you want to make. It's mistakes you want to make. No, it's Znus is called in the Torah Chesed. You're doing Chesed. There's people never lonely. People need Ava, V'achva, Achtos, Shalom, Reyes, Ditza, Rina, Chedra. See, dance with the girls. It's a chance left. A bissel Ditza, a bissel Achva. Shalom is Eina bracha mitzuya el b'shalom. Eina kli machzik bracha el shalom. We all know better. There are flugga. Shalom broke everything down. Hashem loves when they're meluchit. That's what the Hashem likes. And they bring right from Chazal, the Achdus, is Balmaila. You have to know, it's all tos. Avigdor is tos, Arayis is tos, Alts is tos. All Averis are tos. But they're all to'usim, that you're a right SHLITA. When a person wants to make mistakes, he finds his way. Doesn't start with, I misunderstood, and then I made a tos. Never goes like that. Whenever you hear somebody goes off the derech, you know he didn't discover something and now he's going off the derech. What he did is he wants to go off the derech. That's how it starts. Once called up a fellow from a very chashuv family, very bright fellow, who wasn't mentally disturbed, to the best of my knowledge. And his family reached out to me if I could maybe mekarev. They told me he's very smart and can argue philosophically. I called him up in Erev Rosh Hashanah. I said, Shalom Aleichem, how are you? He said, who are you? I told him my name. He said, do I know you? I said, we have connections. We know there's a lot of people that you know that I know. Let's leave it at that. He said, but we're our brothers. Whether you acknowledge it, not acknowledge it, we both come from the same grandmothers and grandfathers. So we have a kesher. I said, it's a deep kesher. It's a kesher of the souls. I said, I understand that you have gone off the derech. You're living a life today as a chavshi. Chavshi is a free man. You know what a free man is? Min. He believes that the story of Bnei Shalom was not Nachar. I don't have to what the Bnei Shalom says. Yesh Rishusach. That's what the Friday mentions. So I said, you're a person that grew up with Torah. You must have a very strong proofs to this. Can you give me your best shot? And don't give me the weakest shot. And then tell me afterwards, I got a better one. I said, give me your best shot. Your strongest gash. Because I'd love to be enlightened. I mean, this is Rosh Hashanah. No, Rosh Hashanah is a serious time. A lot of people creates pressure. Rosh Hashanah, you know what I mean? They blow the shofar in your face. They blow your ears off to keep you away, waking you to do tshuva. You know, you got to know what to answer. I forgot now what question he gave me. Give me some question. I said, is that your best question? He said, that's one of the best. So you have a better one? Tell me the better one. Because I don't want to afterwards you tell me you don't have the better one. So tell me the question. I said, that question, your premise, is based on a simple mistake. I said, I don't believe that's even your question. That's a famous question that people who are ignorant of anything of the Torah present that question. You're putting me down. And no, I'm not putting, I'm putting all the people who made up this question, I'm putting them down. I said, if you ask me why is 1 and 1 2 and not 11, that's an ignorant question. Even though I can argue that 1 and 1 is 11, you put 1 next to a 1, it's 11. Ask him, what do you see? I see 11. But 1 and 1 is still 2. That's how it is. My grocer doesn't accept my arguments. I said, it's an ignorant question. I explained to him what. I said, let me explain it rationally. Where's your mistake? Every question is based on a premise. Let's see what your premise is. And let's analyze the premise. The premise is false. She says, let me ask you something. She said, you think you're so smart? No, I said, I just think I'm smarter than you. That's not too smart. So I said, but what I don't understand, he says, is how come I asked this question to so many Rabbanim, no one had that answer? I said, that's the best response you have to me? If you ask 50 Rabbanim, what do you do if you forgot Yalav Yavai? And they said, we don't know. And then you meet one Rabbi who tells you, if you forgot Yalav Yavai, you don't have to say Shemona Esrei. Sometimes you do have to say Shemona Esrei. You say, how do you know the answer? 50 Rabbanim didn't know the answer. How do you know the answer? Because the 50 forgot, and the one knows. You're not even responding to me, I told him. He said, I have more proofs. I said, yeah, tell me some more proofs. He said, God's give me, you ever heard of Nietzsche? I said, you're going to ask me kashas from Nietzsche? Some German, sick philosopher who had his head turned on his head too many times. When Hashem put the head on, they turned his head too many times, and the guy's thinking process got messed up. You're going to ask me kashas from him? Ask me kashas from the Torah. That's a Yiddish guy. Don't ask me some outside. You're going to bring me a kasha from an outside imbecile who never knows anything about nuclear physics to ask me questions on nuclear physics? Are you out of your mind? Ask me a question from the Torah lane. Oh, I see we have nothing more to discuss. But that's what they always tell me. But I always call them up to talk to them nicely. I've done this many times. I said, please, give me your best shot. Oh, no one knows anything. It goes to me, how no one knows anything. Yeah, I've asked questions to Rabbanim. They've never heard of Yeshaya 51, Yeshaya this, 53. They can give me quotes. Try me, emphasize. Give me your kasha, my friend. Present it to me. Let's discuss it. I'll take out of Yeshaya. You'll take out of Yeshaya. We'll look inside. We'll see what the pasuk says, what the Chazal say. It's amazing. Every time they say, you think you have all the answers. The same thing over and over again. I said, no, but on your silly question, I have an answer, that's all. The answer is, you want to make a mistake. You're right, SHLITA. I told this fellow. And I said, I'm going to tell you why you're right, SHLITA. I said, I just want you to know that you think you're a free thinker. I said, I want to ask you one question. Did you eat treif before you had the questions? Or did you have questions first and then eat treif? So I refuse to answer that question. I said, well, you can't. Just answer my question. He said, I'm going to tell you what you did. I'm going to tell you you ate treif first. And you contaminated your soul. And you got a chukah to throw away Hashem. You got a taiva to reject Hashem. Then afterwards, you have all these kashas. So he said, one thing I will tell you. My experience doesn't refute your philosophy, but I'm not agreeing to you. I'm not admitting to you. I said, you don't have to. I told you got good year, at home. I hope you have an awakening. That's where it all starts, my friend. Esav, we started with a question. Yaakov Avinu ripped off Esav. What kind of business is this? Why doesn't he tell Esav, Esav, you know what you're giving up? Esav grew up in the house of Yitzchak and Rivka. Esav grew up in the same cheder as Yaakov. Esav, you couldn't tell the difference. Between Esav and Yaakov, it wasn't nicker to Gedolei Olam, who knew how to look through people and see their souls. Esav knew. Esav made a choice. You know what Esav said? I'm not comfortable in the oil, in the tents of Yaakov. I'm not comfortable there. I'm more of an ish sadeh. I like more worldly stuff. I like to go into the libraries of the world. I like to meet people of the world. I like to see different customs and different noshim. Mikol sugim. I like to hunt, and I like to do the things that go in. Once Esav developed that shuka and that taiva, he suddenly saw the Bechira didn't fit in with his sheep. What do I need this Bechira for? He saw the suffering he's going to follow if he doesn't live up to the lofty standard. So he decided it wasn't worth anything for me. Yaakov saw that Esav chose to devalue it. If you choose to devalue that shirt, when you know that shirt could be very expensive, but you choose to say, to me, this shirt is garbage. I don't have to tell you that a shirt's a good shirt. If you see I'm trying to buy it, obviously I value it more than you value it. But you hold your neighbor, and you hold that to you it's not worth anything. That's how it works. You want to get rid of something? One man's garbage is another man's gold. Yaakov Avinu was under no obligation to give him a shmuz. Adarab, Yaakov Avinu saw his brother's choice of behavior, his choice of lifestyle, his choice to get away from ruchnias and value gashmias, and therefore Hashem told him, listen, Yaakov said, I want to buy that bechira from you. To me it has value. Esav should have perked up right there and said, hey, to you it's value? That means it's value. No one buys bechira. Oh, you're buying bechira? No, what Esav said? Is this going to kill me? This is going to kill me. And he sold him. And Yaakov saved the bechira from the hands of Esav. Later on, Esav has a violent reaction. No, that's what happens to a lot of people who make mistakes. And at the end they see the consequence of their behavior. You know what they say? It's not my fault. You know, my Rebbe never explained me the reasons for Judaism. My Rebbe never gave me a flavor for it. My Rebbe called me a dumb cup. My parents just told me you got to do it because they never educated me. They never did this. I tell the guy, did you want education? Did you want your Rebbe to explain it to you? No. Now you're looking backwards and you're blaming your Rebbe. Why don't you blame and accept responsibility for your own mistakes? There were many other kids in your class, I've told this to many people also, who made the right choices. Who the Yetzer Hara didn't seduce to the degree that he seduced you. Why don't you accept responsibility for your shortcomings? Why are you saying your excuses? Because that's the reaction that people have later on. Kol haroitz litos yavai v'yit.